Okay, so these are the parts that are going to be making my center. I got a 1/4 inch nut, a 1/4 by 1 inch washer, a 1/4 by 1 1/4 split drive, and I got 6 1/8 inch by 2 1/2 inch nails. Now, this right here, the split drive, is what took me so hard to find. But when I saw it, I was like, that will definitely work for that center right there. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be welding that on top of my nut there. So that way I can weld it on to my washer. And what I'm going to do with this washer is I'm going to divide it evenly by 6, roughly. I'm not perfect. And I'm going to be drilling every one of those spots with an 1/8 inch drill bit. And that's going to be for the nails. Once I have those holes in there, the nails will drop through and the heads will actually stop on the back of the washer. And then from there, I will trim down to meet roughly so that it's all equal. You don't want it too much higher here. They're roughly about the same height. The outsides are maybe just a tad taller than the center on that photo. So I'm just going to trim it down, and then from there I'll show you how I create the fuzziness on the nails. Okay, we now have our 6 holes drilled in to the washer, and now I'll give you a little show. When you go to stick the nail in, the nail will be stopped by the head. So just to give you a little example, right there, then the nut, then the split drive. So turn that this way so you can see a little bit better. So I will probably cut maybe about 1/8 of an inch above the top of that split drive. Now to make the fuzzy part on top of the nails, I'm going to be using my little scraps that I have from sweeping up the floor. So what I'm going to be doing here is I have a little can with just a regular kitchen sifter, and I want the little finer pieces. I don't want all this bigger stuff and trash. So I'm going to put this in here, and then it doesn't always allow for me to move that little wheel. But I'm going to get the majority of that small piece. It is a little dusty. I got about all of it. So that's the trash and other stuff that was on my floor. And then we are left with some really nice fine stuff. So that's what I'm going to be using on my nails to make them have that fuzzy look. So I have everything tacked up. This is the split drive welded to the nut. It's still a little hot right now. I'm gonna clean that up in a little bit. But right now we're gonna focus on the nails in the washer, so it looks like when it's tacked up. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the fuzzies. So I'm gonna use super glue. Any type of super glue is good. And I'm just gonna run beads about maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch on the tip. I'm just kind of go around the whole thing. Okay, now we're just gonna take it and then dip it, kind of swirl it around a little bit, and then shake it off. I got some pieces of my wire wheel in here. Don't really want those on there. we go. I'm gonna add just a little bit more on these tips because they're a little bit bald. Do it one more time. So far it turned out pretty good. There we go. Move this out of the way. There you have it. That's how I did the fuzzies. So this right here is the Lisianthus rose, and I always use the fake flowers to get a good reference of proportion and what they really look like, or as close as possible. And to me, this is like a cross between a tulip center and then a rose. The difference between this rose and my other roses that I do, this one has 5 petals, and I normally form with 4, so it's going to be a little bit different. But it's going to be a lot looser on the top. It's not going to be as tight and wound in as I normally do my centers. So I'm going to continue to keep going like I normally do, like a cross pattern of how I normally do my rows. So I think I'm going to continue in that same type of process. So I'll come over here, then come over here, and then finish with this one. And I think it will be fine. It's all about trial and error here. Trying something new. Come in and bring in these edges just a little bit. Okay, so that's our first row, and I'm liking it so far. I may come in and bring it just a little bit tighter, but for right now I'm just going to leave it like it is and continue to form. And I can always make adjustments later if I need to. Okay. And I normally have this a lot tighter when I'm doing. I don't like movement, so that way I can get a good nice bend to it, just because I don't know how this is all gonna form out, and if I need to make changes, because this is my first time doing one of these, I'm keeping it looser. And plus I don't want to lock in my center here and make an error on one of the petals and then have to start completely over. So that's why it's a little bit looser and wobblier than what I normally form. And I'm just gonna offset my petals just a little bit so we just get a little bit different shape here. But I'm really liking how this is turning out. I'm already over here. Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and clean this one up. And like as I normally do with my rose petals, I have 3 different sizes, but when I went to go mark them up for size comparison, there was 2 different size patterns in the fake version, so I stuck with that. And it wasn't just smaller and larger, it was 2 of the smaller, 1 big, or 2 big, and then 1 small, 1 small. So it was a little bit different pattern than I'm used to, but when you look at it, it does have some smaller petals on the outside that are a little bit looser and shorter. So it does make sense from that standpoint. And this one, just because it's so loose, I'm just going to bring it all up. I don't think it matters. Doing crosswise. Just want to get that detail in. On this one, I'm going to pinch it just a little bit further down. Create that separation from the other height. A little bit too loose there. I am super happy with this. And we do have the leaves under here, which do line up, so I'm gonna go ahead Make sure that they do line up. There we go. And then I will come in here and I will lock down this center, and I will lock this up here, weld it up, make it seamless so you won't be able to know that that's a nut right there. And then I will add my leaves, my custom leaves that I put their names, Riley and Jenna, and their wedding date 9/18/21. And this is gonna go in her bouquet of real Lisianthus roses. So I cannot wait to see this. I'm super stoked about this project.